my movie notes from today for viewing. Today is Wednesday, 22 May 2024. This is 2017 film Molly's Game. Finished the book yesterday. Here's the book. Well, okay, this is a book copy. And so the book was published in 2014. And then after that first edition of the book was published, this movie came out 3 years later in 2017. And then this edition of the book came out with the movie art. So if it looks similar, they used the movie art for the new edition of the book. So there's a little chronology there. And so I'm Tanis Coralee Leonhardi, she, her, hers of Seattle. These are my movie notes for my Wednesday, 22 May 2024 viewing of the 2017 film Molly's Game, which is a biographical film about Molly Bloom, an underground poker game she ran, and the legal proceedings in relation to her involvement in the game. It is a film adaptation of an autobiographical book of the same name, Molly's Game. So the name of both is Molly's Game, but the book came before the movie. So the movie took the name of the book. Well, at least part of the name of the book. So there we go. What were my notes? Well, I saw this one in theaters back when it came out. I was living in California. And I had not read the book. I didn't even know it was based on a book. I literally went to the theater and was like, I'm just going to choose a movie based on what's there. Like, I didn't look any of the movies up or anything like that. And I decided to watch Molly's Game because there was like a lot of, power to women kind of going on at that point in time. And I was like, there's Molly in the title. I'm supporting a woman, I'm guessing. But I didn't know because I didn't know what the movie was about. So I was like, I'm going to go with Molly's Game and hope it's about a woman. And it was. So, and I liked it. And then I looked it up later and it was based on a book. And I was like, maybe at some point I'll read the book. And I actually watched it a number of times. And I was like, but before I read the book, I actually want to watch it a few times to see like if I can figure out kind of how it might be different than the book. And so my grand takeaway from that was watch them take all of the shock or high drama scenes or a collection of those and make that into the movie. Or those are the scenes from the movie that make, or not from the movies, the scenes from the book that make the movie. And having watched it now, after reading the book, which I finished yesterday, yeah, I actually got that right. I've accurately predicted the formula for what gets included from the book. So that was kind of weird in watching it, and I was like, yeah, they just chose the high drama stuff. Which is actually kind of interesting in the sense of, in the book, there was so much cut from this book. The book is better than the movie. However, I think I have this at 4.5 out of 5 stars and this out of 5 out of 5 stars. That rating was not rating it as a biographical adaptation of an autobiography. So an autobiography is written about oneself, so she wrote the book by herself. And this is a portrayal by other people about her. So this is an autobiography, this is a biography. Right, kind of thing. So, I would say in that, it kind of failed very much in being true to the book and the character of the person and that kind of stuff and how she's portrayed and that kind of stuff. However, it's an entertaining movie. So I would say I'm not actually going to change my rating because it is still a good movie. However, as a adaptation of this, I would give it a fail on a pass-fail scale. Kind of thing. So it's like, is a way of saying, if I want to restore my joy of viewing this, is maybe not as like thinking about the book while I'm watching it. Speaking from experience. Right. So there we go. That's why I chose to watch this one. I did. I have had this on I had this on a scavenger hunt, which the scavenger hunt was, I think I put that video on this channel, Tanis Leonhardi, at least currently, and the notes on autobiography/biography playlist. So if you want to go on a scavenger hunt to find that video on this channel, it's one of the scavenger hunt videos from back in 2022. And anything else I want to say? I would think probably the biggest, like if there was one huge theme throughout the book that was cut from the movie, it's her personal life. She was in a multi-year committed relationship with the son of one of the owners of the, LA Dodgers or something. They didn't even bring up a single significant other in the movie. Right, and she went on, she found her soulmate. She's a very mature person, and this kind of portrayed her as ice cold and not really having a heart. And I was like, you know, it's not true. I've read the book. She does not come across that way whatsoever in the book. So that was a little bit different. I think the only person I can think of where like their personal life is cut entirely and is like perhaps even so far in like real life is inconsistent with like their own information they put out there in the world about themselves is Sabrina Gonzalez-Pasterski. On her YouTube channel, I think it's 2017, she's at some sort of public speaking thing with other people and in the Middle East, and she has her wedding ring on, and it was like 2017, and she's worn her wedding ring in at least one other of the videos on her YouTube channel. I remember seeing that, and like a lot of the press doesn't bring up her personal life, or they say she's single, and I'm like, well, usually a wedding band or wedding ring means a person's married. So I don't know why they're lying about that, or is she just divorced, or is she on husband number 3 so people don't bring it up? But I was like, there's one person, right? The information they put out about themselves, perhaps the press doesn't watch it or doesn't care or just wants to like frame her a certain way, but it's like inconsistent with the information she puts out about herself. I feel like that would be so frustrating. But yeah, so the press is not really sensitive to the information she puts out there about herself. Maybe is a way of putting it. So I was thinking actually, in like watching it, I was like, what would be, thinking through myself, my wedding scenario, what would be a way, like, this is a lot of information, the book. So how would, what would be a personal life thing that could be actually adapted or like lived in such a way that it's in a book and it's like really concise and it could make it into the film and it'd be really like preserving the nature of the relationship of me and my who. So I'm going to go through the scenario of me moving in with my boyfriend Josh Kerr. So in this case, my boyfriend Josh Kerr, and we're living together and we do the unplanned planned proposal I've talked about. And we're like, well, if we only got to include one thing, like the unplanned planned proposal might make my book, but would it make the movie, you know, kind of thing. Thinking about if I wrote an autobiography and there was a movie or something, then I'm being like, well, if there was a wedding in a similar nature, unplanned, planned being like kind of spontaneous, but the structure was already like premeditated. So in that sense, planned, but the actual moment it happens is spontaneous. So unplanned, planned. Be like me, my boyfriend Josh Kerr, or at that point fiance Josh Kerr, and our friend Jacob Ingebrigtsen, are we already in Scotland and we decide, can we rent this rock for a day? We want this rock to be in our wedding, and all of a sudden it's publicly available, and we're like, we will rent a car and drive it out to a place where that overlooks the ocean, and let's just set it up. Let's take our camera, set up the camera. Jacob officiates for me and mine Josh, and it's like a spontaneous wedding, and then at the end of it all, and we get it all in like a YouTube video, and it's official because we have an officiator and he's okay to be officiator. And like, do we do at the end of it all to make it so unplanned, planned, and like us in nature that it has to make the movie? What do? We do Scottish hamster Josh Kerr, Russian hamster me, Tanis, Norwegian hamster Jacob Ingebrigtsen, and do we do a Tanis hamsters dance? And that's how the movie ends? All 3 hamsters dancing? Like, what does it take to get a person's personal life in a movie? Adapted from a book. So that was my thinking through my wedding in an unplanned, planned wedding scenario with my boyfriend Josh Kerr. Come move me, baby. Yeah, move me in with you. But that was like Tanis hamsters dance. Maybe that would work. I don't know. Anyway, those are my movie notes on Molly's Game 2017 film, 22 May 2024 viewing.